He must be held accountable for what he has done.
Well, we can speak now to Edward Lucas, author of New Cold War, Putin's Russia and the Threat to the West. What's your reaction to what we've been hearing throughout the day today?
Well, it's, I think, a terrible day, first of all, for the Navalny family and for his friends and colleagues. It's a terrible day for Russia, and it's a terrible day for the West. It shows that our threats to Russia of devastating consequences if anything happens to Navalny have bounced off like pretty much everything else we've said to the Putin regime over the past 24 years. I don't think it's a coincidence that this happens on the day of the opening of the Munich Security Conference, where Navalny's wife, Yulia Navalnaya, was going to be giving a keynote speech. So it's kind of massive two fingers to the West. It's a sign of weakness in a way, because it shows that the Kremlin can't tolerate even a flicker of individual opposition in a remote penal colony in the far north of Russia. And that's in a way a weakness. If you want total control, then even slight resistance becomes an existential problem. But I think that the Putin regime for now will reckon that it's mission accomplished.
Interesting. What are the options then? You said that effectively threats from the West have bounced off. What are the options? Is it simply things like more sanctions, or is there any other alternative?
No, absolutely not. I mean, obviously we can try and find the people responsible and put visa and financial sanctions on them and maybe on their family members and so on. But the real Russian opposition is not Navalny, and it's not the great democratic leader, Vladimir Kara-Murza, who's also in jail, and it's not the little scattered protests we see of soldiers' relatives across Russia complaining about conscription and military conditions. None of that really matters, nor is there any Russian opposition inside the Kremlin. The sort of different warring cliques there are all basically under Putin's thumb. No, the real Russian opposition is the armed forces of Ukraine. They're the ones who are giving Putin a headache. And by far the most important thing for us to do is to give Ukraine the weapons that they've been begging for, give them the long-range strikes, give them the artillery shells, give them all the equipment and the ammunition they need. That is the best chance both of preserving our security, but also eventually of leading to regime change in Russia.
I see. And just going back to the Vladimir Putin calculation, if US President Joe Biden is correct when he says that Vladimir Putin is responsible for what's happened here, we should point out, of course, the Kremlin and Russia have criticised the reaction from leaders from the West. But if we work on that hypothesis, what exactly is the calculation of Vladimir Putin here?
First of all, I think we've got to be careful about giving any real weight to Kremlin denials. This isn't a kind of he says, she says story where we balance both sides. The Kremlin has a track record of murdering its opponents, and this is what's happened in that case. So let's be clear about this. I think that the Putin calculation is that it humiliates the West and shows us to be impotent. It sends a signal to everybody else in Russia who's thinking of resisting him that not only will I put you in jail, but I will kill you and I'll get away with it. And I think, sends a signal to anyone inside the regime who's thinking that the boss is getting quite old and maybe it's time to be thinking about someone different. Don't even think about it. I'm still in charge. And those are all reasonable assumptions for Putin to make. He's made them, and I fear he's going to get away with them.
Edward Lucas, thank you very much for coming on the programme. Thank you.